Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2019 horror film Midsommar, a film that is written and directed by Ari Aster, who last year brought us Hereditary, and it stars Florence Pugh, Jack Rayner and Will Poulter. Now this is a film very much like Hereditary before it, that has split many audience members, and it seems like Ari Aster is quite the master at doing that with his films. Now me personally, I was a fan of Hereditary. I really enjoyed that. I found it to be really impactful and different and interesting as a horror film. So I was really quite looking forward to Midsommar. However, I missed it at the cinema, so I had to wait. And this film focuses on Florence Pugh's character, who, Florence Pugh, let's be honest, is on a bit of a run. She's had a fantastic 12 months with Malevolent and The Outlaw King and Fighting With My Family, and now this. I think she's a very talented actress, and I think her star is certainly on the rise. And her character Dani plays a traumatised woman really, who suffers great loss at the beginning of this film, and she's with her boyfriend Jack Rayner, who plays Christian, Christiansen, no, Christian. Forgive me. And they've been going out for about 4 years. However, the relationship essentially is going nowhere, and it's kind of a relationship for just convenience really. And he's struggling to console her, to deal with her grief and loss, and she ends up being invited to Sweden with her boyfriend and his friends to a Swedish community, a bit of an odd Swedish community, to attend their midsummer fair. And she decides to go along, as she thinks it could be, therapeutic and it's a break and all that kind of stuff. They get there, however, and this midsummer festival in this Swedish community are a little bit odd, to say the least, and things escalate slowly but surely. People start going missing and horrific events start taking place. Right, this is one of those films that you really do not want to spoil, because it's a wonderfully layered film that is, its message is clear. It's essentially a breakup film between the two leads. Like I say, it's a relationship that's going nowhere. There doesn't seem to be an awful lot of love and affection there. It's just a convenient relationship, and essentially it's a breakup film, this film. And it's also a film that deals with grief and loss and death. It just does it in a really out there way, and it's just weird. This film is completely and utterly out there, and a lot of people have made some comparisons to Wicker Man. I really do understand those comparisons, and some of the comparisons are really quite justified, I believe. There are a lot of similarities there. But I honestly, I've got such a lot of respect for this director. He's very talented. He's almost the yin to Jordan Peele's yang. They're both very talented horror directors, both very different, and they're both giving us really high quality horror, just different ways, different ends of the scale, if you like. And this film is just, it's a joy to watch because it's stunningly beautiful. The cinematography is really a joy to behold, and it really is outstandingly filmed. The performances are fantastic. Florence Pugh gives a really intense, while being understated at the same time, performance that is just wonderful. Everybody else is great in the film. Will Poulter, I kind of question why he was in the film really. It gives a level of I'm not really there's like a weird layer of comedy running through this that doesn't really fit. Some people have actually described this film as a comedy. It isn't. And Will Poulter's character, while does a couple of things that might be uncomfortable and could deem as comedic, his character didn't fit the film for me. Not that I think he gave a bad performance, it just didn't seem to fit the film. This is almost like the first daytime horror, you know what I mean? Much of the horror happens during the day, which is a welcome change for me. Most horror is obviously set at night or at the dark corridors, nighttime, moonlit, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not kidding, there are some truly shocking and uncomfortable scenes to watch in this movie that will make you literally hide behind the cushion. There's a couple of scenes that you can see what you think might be happening, and then they go ahead and do it. And there's even close-ups of the aftermath, and it just, oh my god, it's really, really shocking. So it doesn't hold back in much of the horror here, even though the pace of the film is so slow and nothing happens really until about an hour and 10 minutes into the film that you could describe as anything close to horror related. The pacing of the film is so slow that when the horror happens, it's even more impactful, I felt. And it, while the characters are constantly tripping on this film because they're taking like hallucinogenics and all these different kind of drugs in this open and free Swedish community, it's almost like you're on a bit of a trip while you're watching it, because things just all never really feel right, and at times it feels like your eyes are playing tricks on you, because you'll look at some meat and it's not really meat, and something happens, and you'll look at pictures, and they kind of morph gently into something else, so it kind of messes with you visually, this film, so it feels like you're on a bit of a trip yourself. But I personally don't think it's as good as Hereditary. It's not as big a horror film as Hereditary. Hereditary for me was clear horror. This blurs the lines a little bit between horror and drama, but it is definitely one of those films that gets you thinking, and it's so visually interesting and cleverly written that it does make you want to watch it again. And there's all these subtle messages flung in throughout it that you can interpret in many, many different ways. And yes, there are clear influences too throughout it, i.e. Wickerman, etc. So I would say if you liked Hereditary, you're probably going to like this. If you didn't like Hereditary, you're probably not going to like this. They are two different films, but they are similar in the way that they are created by the director and written by the director, and I think they're intentionally meant to divide audiences. So that's my review for Midsommar. I did enjoy it, not as much as Hereditary, but it is certainly worthy of a watch if you want to watch something a little bit different and cleverly created. So thanks for watching, everybody. Of course, I will see you next time for another review on Screen Stars.